Hey everybody, Arthur here. We have a massive sale on the 3DS and Wii U going on right now. I'll be showing you the games, prices, duration, as well as an explanation of each one. Very short ones because there's a lot to cover this time. I wanted to release this video a couple of days ago, but I got sick, which cost me 2 days and a very nasally voice right now, so I apologize. And this was a huge bummer because I still have a lot to cover before the eShops close, but I'm feeling much better now and back on track, so stay tuned for more soon. A couple more videos before the eShops close, including the next one where I'll cover all the recent games released for the 3DS and Wii U, and there's gonna be a big surprise there, so stay tuned for that. And with all that said, let's get to the games. Welcome to the channel, this is From the Void. A major highlight goes to all the WayForward games that rarely ever go on sale on the 3DS and Wii U, starting with the Shantae games, which are all great or excellent. I think Risky's Revenge is the best one, with somewhat of a Metroidvania aspect to it and dungeons to explore. This is a pretty fantastic game. They are all half off, so the Pirate's Curse is going for $9.99 in the US or $8.50 in Europe. This is both in the 3DS as well as on the Wii U. Then Risky's Revenge Director's Cut is going for mere $4.99. Must get if you don't have it yet. This is on the Wii U. And finally Half Genie Hero is $9.99 or $8.50 in Europe, also on the Wii U. Still on the WayForward bucket, we have all the Mighty Switch Force games. These are great platformers where you control a lot of different blocks in the environment, being able to turn them on or off by pressing a button. It's a real interesting and well done gameplay, and Mighty Switch Force 2 shakes things up a lot by having you be a firefighter as well. Pretty cool. On the 3DS we have the original Mighty Switch Force going for mere $2.99, while on the Wii U we have the remastered version of the original called Mighty Switch Force Deluxe, with revamped HD graphics and a lot of extra stuff for $4.99. Then the sequel is the same on both consoles for $2.99. Moving on to Shovel Knight, we have two slightly different versions of the Treasure Trove edition of Shovel Knight that already includes the DLC, as the 3DS version has one missing piece of DLC that would be Shovel Knight Showdown, which is a fighting game of sorts, still using the same mechanisms of the original game. It plays really well and the stages are varied and challenging, which is pretty cool. The Wii U version though has everything, and every single campaign in this game is fantastic. Shovel Knight is a must-play game in my opinion, and it's rarely ever on sale. Much less so with a 85% discount, reducing it to $4.99 on the 3DS or $5.99 on the Wii U. Fragrant Story is a game that got a lot of people pissed off, rightfully so. It's a tactical RPG with only 3 stages. It lasts 15 minutes or less, it's ridiculous. However, they announced a free DLC in the form of Update 1.2 that, at the time of this recording, is yet to be released. So I'd say wait until it does to see if it adds a lot more content to justify a purchase, cause it could be that this was the strategy all along, to be able to release the game physically before the licensing cutoff, which happened months ago, then release the rest of the game later as DLC. The sale is lasting all the way until the eShops close, so here's hoping that they release the DLC until then and it's a meaningful one. Next we have all the Steamworld games. Those are all excellent, you can't go wrong with any of them. The 2D games are action platformers heavy on exploration and a really well polished gameplay with a cool story on both. Then Heist is a tactical shooter game with very unique gameplay where you manually aim the shot at the enemies, introducing a welcome skill based feature into a strategy game. Dig 1 is on both systems for $1.99 or $1.79 in Europe, and Dig 2 is only on the 3DS going for $3.99. Heist is also on both systems for $2.99. Next is the Gunman Clive series. These are surprisingly great 2D action platformers with a unique and enjoyable graphical style and really solid gameplay with a lot of challenge, surprising shifts to the gameplay and loads of replay value in both. The better option is on the Wii U with the HD collection that comes with both games for $199. On the 3DS you will have to buy each one separately, but the original is only being discounted in Europe for 99 cents, while the sequel is on sale in both regions for $199 in the US and $149 in Europe. Next is the Parascientific Escape series. There are 3 games on this obscure but excellent franchise. They're all pretty solid visual novels/puzzle games, exclusive to the 3DS and digital only, that received great scores like 8s. They follow 2 characters who have a wide variety of psychic powers, such as telekinesis, chronokinesis, clairvoyance, and more. Those abilities are implemented in the gameplay to solve puzzles, with you being able to look through walls, move stuff around with the character's mind, and see what happened in the past. You can pick each one up for $199 in the US or €1 measly each in Europe. Biggest discounts on these games ever. Next is Retro City Rampage DX and Shakedown Hawaii. Both of these titles were recently released in physical form on the PlayStation 3, and Shakedown Hawaii is on the PlayStation 4 as well physically, which is quite nice. These are both excellent open world action games, similar to the old school PlayStation 1 GTA games, but even more frantic and fast paced, and with some pretty interesting and varied missions. These games are loads of fun, so be sure to grab them if you like them on the 3DS, while Shakedown Hawaii is also on the Wii U. They're getting 70% discounts right now, the biggest discounts ever. Next is Kid Tripp. This is an auto runner. I don't gravitate to those really, but this one mixes the uncontrollable running with a very traditional platforming, and it's really well refined for what it is. There's a fairly high challenge to overcome here. And listen to this, in Europe right now this game is completely free, 100% discount. No reason not to get it if you're there. And that's not the only game receiving a 100% discount in Europe. Digger Dan DX is also going for free, and it seems like a pretty good puzzle platformer where you can dig through some blocks and push others. No reason not to get it for free, so if you're in Europe, go right ahead. Moving on to Kokopolo 3D. This is a top-down action game where you control 3 crazy characters in a nonsensical, quirky story, and you'll have to approach enemies, scratch them up, make them follow you, then feed them to the carnivorous plant in the beginning. It's a rather unique style of gameplay. You can get it for the lowest price ever of $239 in the US or less than $120 in Europe. Next, a bunch of games from developer Renegade Kid, which has been dissolved into 2 other companies, splitting their IP, and these games here remain with a company called Atui. First we have Mutant Muds and Mutant Mud Super Challenge. These are excellent platformers with a lot of stuff going on. You have a jetpack, a gun, you can jump to the back of the environment, which is made more interesting on the 3DS because of the stereoscopic 3D feature, and these games are also pretty challenging, so great ones to grab if you're a platforming fan. The original is going for $450 on the 3DS or $499 for the deluxe version on the Wii U. Super Challenge is going for $499 on either system. In fact, if you buy one, you get the other one free. If you want something similar but less platforming and more Metroidvania, you can try Xeodrifter. It also counts with the same fluidity gameplay and also enables you to go to the back of the screen, which again makes for good use of the 3D effect on the 3DS as well. So this is another great game worth the $499 asking price on either system. Next is Chicken Wiggle. By the way, all these Atui games are also found on the Switch, but note that Chicken Wiggle had its name changed to Hatch Tales. Okay, this is another pretty great platformer. You control Chicken and his backpack pal Wiggle, who can stretch and grab things in the environment. Pretty cool little mechanism. The game is definitely fun, but this one is more expensive at $749. Bomb Monkey is a fun dropping blocks puzzle game with interesting mechanisms like chain blocks, combo blocks, bombs, and a lot more. Pretty cool little game here, and you hold the 3DS sideways for this one. It goes for a bit over $2 on sale. Next is Retro Racer 80s Overdrive. To graphics here are beautiful and the game plays perfectly well too. This is basically an arcade style racer with a cool progression system where in between races you spend your money to enhance your car. Races are fun and exciting with lots of things happening around you. Cool game here, and even better on the 3DS than elsewhere with the awesome 3D effect and the extra information in the bottom screen. It's absolutely worth the 60% discounted price of $199. We also have two Fairune games on sale. Those are very simplified kinds of top-down Zelda-likes with pleasant graphics and music and a fun adventure to be had in both. They're definitely worth the cheap prices, especially in Europe. Next we have most of the Silver Falls games, and listen, I'm working on a full coverage of these in the very next video, so stay tuned for that. One important thing to say is that the Silver Falls games are 100% not hand-holdy kinds of games. They expect you to discover things by yourself, there is hardly any tutorials of any kind, so in the beginning many of these games may feel underwhelming, frustrating and janky. But if you're a patient player, I guarantee there is a lot to enjoy in each one of them. They're all incredibly varied. Go Busters, for instance, is a Game Boy style side-scroller platformer with intricate mechanisms. It has that feeling of an adventure game as well. Pretty great game, going for $5.99 right now. This is only in the Americas, by the way, but this next one is the only one that made it to Europe. Silver Falls Undertakers. This, as you can see, is very much an old school style adventure game, all about exploration, finding items and trying to help people escape the menacing creatures in the beautiful E.T. Atari graphical style. Interesting game for sure, and it's going for $3 right now. Then 3 Down Stars is the flagship of the series. It's a horror survival with many elements found in games like Silent Hill, such as exploration gameplay in lonely foggy scenarios, intertwined with bizarre encounters with grotesque creatures. This game is deeper than it seems, with upgrade systems and an interesting story full of characters. Also, never mind the reviews it got when it launched, because there has been a lot of updates since then. This one is going for $15.59 right now, the lowest price ever. And next is Guardians and Metal Exterminators. This is a collection of 3 games. Both Guardians and Metal Exterminators are Tiger handheld style action games. Yeah, I told you, the Silver Falls games are wildly varied, but there's also a fully fledged quest-based action game in 3D called Frontier Hunter here, which will have you picking characters and loadouts to tackle varied quests. This is one of the games that I was talking about with a lot of depth that you'll have to figure out by yourself. You can upgrade weapons, buy new ones, level up, do combos by using different weapons. It's a lot. The game can be enjoyed, but I think most people would probably give up before getting there. This one is going for $7.79. Next is Harvest Moon 3D, The Tale of Two Towns. This is one of the highlights in the long-running Harvest Moon series, now Story of Seasons, where you have to choose one of 2 towns situated very close to each other, with radically different cultures, architecture styles, and farming options. It's real cheap right now, but on sale in Europe only for $3.99. Next is a Wii U hidden gem called Tachyon Project. This is obviously a Geometry Wars clone, there is no denying it. However, it has a story mode divided into stages, which also works really well with the twin-stick shooter gameplay. At the price of $199, this is a nice addition to your Wii U for sure. Following up with Wii U exclusive 3 Souls. This one surely doesn't look like it, but it's a great game with some unique creativity. It uses the gamepad in very clever ways, like manipulating a camera on the wall to see hidden platforms. It's definitely a positive and interesting game, worth the $199 or mere 99 cents in Europe. Moving on to Mr. Pumpkin Adventure. However ridiculous the title might sound, this is an excellent classic point-and-click adventure. It received great scores too. I realize this type of game is rather niche nowadays, but if you're a fan, Mr. Pumpkin Adventure won't disappoint. The puzzles are really clever and creative, and I did enjoy the cartoonish graphics too. It is currently going for mere $199 or 99 cents in Europe, which is totally worth it. Next is one of the quirkiest and most unusual ideas for a game ever, the Legend of Kusakari. There is a war between man and monster raging on while you are the gardener. You have to cut the grass so that the fighters can do their fighting in leveled fields without worrying about tall, overgrown grass. And this translates into a fun and deeply addictive game. It's kind of incredible. It's currently at the lowest price ever, going for $1.99, 60% off. From the same developer of The Legend of Kusakari is another pretty excellent game, escapeVektor. Despite not looking like anything special and having an underwhelming beginning, it evolves a lot, and the simple Pac-Man-like gameplay becomes addictive and a lot of fun. You can search online. escapeVektor received really favorable reviews, and it's now at the lowest price ever of $1.99. Next we have the 3 games from the famous 3DS developer Luke Vincent: Herald's Walk, Herald Reborn, and Automaton Lung. All of these may look very unappealing, but they all play really well. The Herald's games are 3D platformers that allow for a lot of freedom and exploration with interesting mechanisms, while in Automaton Lung there is a lot more of an action focus, and it's also kind of a collectathon, also with great exploration and physics. Great titles here, all of them going for very fair prices right now. Herald's Walk is mere $2.99, Reborn is $4.99 with a big discount, and Automaton Lung is $6.99. None of these were ever released outside of the Americas though, so no luck for Europe. Next is weird and obscure puzzle Labyrinth. You move about in a first-person dungeon crawling manner, looking around the environment for items that can be used to help you traverse to other sections or defeat enemies, all in the hopes of unlocking the door and escaping to the next stage. The initial several stages, however, are stupidly basic, so be advised. Puzzle Labyrinth is a weird game, but definitely worth the $2 or mere €1 in Europe. Next is a real fun hidden gem, Alien on the Run. You're an alien trying to escape the spaceship using what they call fever action. Basically, the alien leap dashes forward, and once you let go of the button, he will destroy a tractor beam, which are these yellow glowing circles. The game is loads of fun and well worth the discounted price, going for 99 cents, but this sale is in Europe only. Next are the Quell games, Quell Memento and Quell Reflect. These are excellent puzzle games, just excellent. You can only move the bubble left, right, up or down, and it only stops when hitting something. You have to try collecting all the pearls and turn all yellow or red blocks into blue. The game has so many different ideas to throw your way, like light rays, ice cubes, teleport pads, and much more. These are true puzzle masterpieces, very clever. Try them out if you're a puzzle fan, especially now that they are half off, going for $1.99 or even less in Europe. Next is the colorful platformer Runbow. This game is both on the Wii U as well as on the new 3DS, where it's called Runbow Pocket. Yeah, this is one of the rare few games that only works on the new 3DS properly, not on regular models. This is an excellent platformer with both single player and multiplayer appeal, and excellent level design and challenge. This game also counts with some pretty meaningful DLC. Both versions are receiving a hefty 80% discount, going for mere $2.99, which is a great price for this game. Next we move to Capcom games, and unfortunately they rejected Europe for the sales all the way to the end, so all these are US only. First, a bunch of Resident Evil games. Resident Evil Revelations is both on the 3DS and Wii U. This is a 3DS original, but the ports have enhanced features like enhanced graphics and a new difficulty mode. But then again, the 3DS remains the only version with the 3D functionality, of course, so it's up to you which version you prefer. It is currently $2.99 on both systems, which means it's 92.5% off on the Wii U right now. Moving on to Resident Evil: The Mercenaries 3D. One important thing to say is that there may be a big incentive for you to buy the digital over the physical copy of this game, unless you find a sealed copy, because the game won't allow you to delete the save file of the previous owner. Yeah, it's weird like that. Mercenaries 3D is an expanded version of the side game that many mainline Resident Evil titles featured once you finish the story, with waves of enemies to defeat in arenas and several characters to choose from. It's currently 85% off, going for $2.99. Next, we have Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition on the Wii U. This is sort of a remaster of the original and it plays great with the Wii motion controls, but you can also opt for the regular controls. This version includes the extra stuff from the PlayStation 2 and PC versions with the new Ada Wong scenario, so this is a great version of this classic game. Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition is going for mere $299, 85% off, the biggest drop in price ever. And the last Resident Evil game is Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles. This is an on-rail shooter with several different scenarios and time periods, telling different never-before-seen parts of the story, including a whole new scenario in Russia. In total, you can play with 9 characters from the series. If you're a Resident Evil fan, this has a lot to offer. Great game here, going for $499 with a 75% discount. Another Virtual Console game on sale from Capcom is Zack Wiki Quest for Barbaro's Treasure. This is an excellent puzzle adventure game that makes great use of the Wii's motion controls. The presentation is excellent with a quirky story and several likable characters. This needs a sequel for sure. It's totally worth the cheapest price ever of $299. Also on the Wii U is DuckTales Remastered. This has the same genius platforming gameplay from the NES original, but with a beautiful new coat of paint and animations, great voiceover from the original animated series cast, and a bunch of extras. This is great, I love it, and it's never been so cheap at $299. Back to the 3DS, we have the Ace Attorney series. I've lost count of how many times I talked about these. They're all great games, totally worth the very cheap prices of $299 each, but note that the trilogy has received an enhanced version on modern consoles. Following up with Super Street Fighter IV 3D Edition. You may be thinking that this is an inferior version of the home console originals, but they added a bunch of new features here that make this one totally unique and could justify a purchase for fans of the series. It includes a stunning 3D mode that actually changes the camera perspective, which is pretty cool. There are also 2 new difficulty modes, touchscreen functionality, and a bunch of costumes already included that were previously DLCs on the home consoles. This is a really cool version of Street Fighter IV, and all the more attractive with the 85% discount going for $299. Next we have Dungeons & Dragons Chronicles of Mystara. This is an excellent beat-em-up compilation from Capcom with 2 different arcade originals. The gameplay is excellent, with the many characters controlling widely different from each other. If you're into beat-em-ups, and especially if you have friends or family to play this with, do yourself a favor and get Chronicles of Mystara now that it is going for only $299. Moving on to the Monster Hunter series. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is the definitive edition of the Wii original, with new gear, enemies, locations, quests, and improved visuals. It's both on the Wii U and 3DS, currently going for $299. Then Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is the only version of 4 to ever make it to the West. It's currently 90% off, the biggest discount ever, going for $299 as well. And finally, the last one in the series on the 3DS is Monster Hunter Generations. This one has a Switch Ultimate version with several enhancements, so you may want to consider getting that version instead, but the 3DS original is also great, and it's getting the biggest discount of all time, over 92% off for $299. Next is Mega Man Legacy Collection on 3DS. Nowadays I see little reason to get this one, unfortunately, because there are superior compilations available on the Switch, PlayStation 4 and other systems that include all Mega Man games from 1 to 10, while this collection has only the 8-bit classics, so only from 1 to 6. The games are great though, and as far as I know, this version is the only one that allows you to gain access to a bunch of fan-made stages by scanning amiibo, so you may want to pick this one up. This collection is going for $299 with an 80% discount. There are also a bunch of Kemko RPGs on sale on the 3DS and Wii U. Every single one of them is currently half off. I know very little about any of these. They're all apparently average RPGs, but they do have a following. They're all going for $4.99 except for Symphony of Eternity that goes for $3.99. Next we have all the Japanese rail sim games. These are very niche, but great if you're into this kind of thing. They are basically train riding simulators going through many locations in Japan. The vistas are one-to-one reproductions of the real places in Japan, as they actually filmed each entire trip to put in the game, which is kinda cool, I gotta say. They're all receiving 90% discounts going for $1.99 each. Next is Chain Blaster. This is an arcade style shoot 'em up, but it has a simple thing that sets it apart and makes it all the more enjoyable. You have a special shot that has a ripple quality to it. It becomes a bubble once it connects to an enemy, and it propagates to however many enemies are in proximity to one another. If you use it right, it replenishes your energy so you can keep using it indefinitely. It's really cool. For the cheap price of 99 cents in Europe, this is very worth it. This sale is not taking place in the Americas. Moving on to a very obscure game called Sadame. This is an isometric style of beat 'em up with a lot of RPG elements included. You could probably also place this in the action RPG category. I love the look of this game, and the action here is simple but effective, with 4 characters to choose from, loads of spells to learn, gear to equip, and combos to unlock. High replayability aspect here too. I've been waiting for this game to get a sale outside of Europe, but no luck. It's once again Europe only, 80% off, going for $2.99. Following up with Virtue's Last Reward. This is the second entry in the Zero Escape or non-linear game series. The stories in these games are absolutely fantastic. Seriously, those are potentially life-changing stories. Plus, along with the excellent narratives and the nail-biting choices that lead to multiple endings, the Zero Escape games also present great puzzles to change the pacing from the heavy reading to some clever, interesting head-scratchers. So if you're in Europe, take advantage of the sale for only €5. Following up with Ambition of the Slimes. This is a turn-based strategy RPG with a big distinction. Instead of controlling the humans, you take charge of the slimes that compensate for their weak attack and defense by turning the humans' advantage completely against them as they claim their bodies. This really transforms the whole dynamic of the combat. It's a real cool and unusual strategy game here, going for $2 in the US or €1 in Europe. And that's it, everyone. If more sales take place in these last couple of weeks before the eShops close, I will mention them on Twitter or do a video like this one, so stay tuned. As always, thank you so much to all of you who support me on Patreon. I invite you to do the same if you can to support the channel, and stay tuned for more 3DS and Wii U coverage. Next will be the recently released games on these systems, and there will be a nice surprise there, so don't miss that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.